Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today I'm going to be talking about a little bit of a concern, issue, and maybe even a solution to an issue that has not yet come up but could. We're talking about Puka Nacua today. And we're talking about Puka Nacua because the wide receiver market, if you looked at free agency, has some concerns. So I'm a little concerned about the future of the wide receiver position, considering the fact that we've now seen Kupp start to take a nosedive after hitting 30. We've seen Stephon Diggs. We've seen a lot of these guys have issues staying healthy. So before we dive into that, though, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JK Bogan, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Kick. And in addition to that, just want to let you guys know that today's sponsor is Mando, which if you're looking for the best deodorant products known to man, just don't take my word for it. Check out Mando. I've been using it for a while now. By far, it's the best deodorant I've ever used. I highly recommend it just from my experience alone. Paraben-free, clinically proven to block odor for up to 72 hours. It's a no-brainer. So if you want to get in on the action, get some Mando in that bathroom or wherever you keep your deodorant products. You can go and get $5 off their starter pack. That's over 40% off with my promo code JKBogan. Check it out at shopmando.com using the code. All right, guys. So Puka Nacua is an absolute star. In case you're living under a rock like Patrick Star from SpongeBob, you missed it. Puka Nacua, the 5th round pick out of BYU, he ended up hitting. But what does that mean? Well, it means that the Rams are able to move on from Kupp, which they're going to be doing. But what it also means is that they need to be careful about how they utilize Puka Nacua. And I don't think enough people are talking about this, and I think it does need to be talked about. This is a guy who's had some injuries, okay? He had injuries at Washington. He had injuries at BYU, and he's had injuries in the pros. He plays like he is just trying to get into a car accident. Every single play, he does not avoid contact. He's not going to take the easy way out and go out of bounds. He is going to fight for extra yards, and he's physical. So not only is he doing that with the ball in his hands, but he's going to be doing it without the ball in his hands as a blocker. So what has really come across my desk here is an interesting little thing, and just talking to different people, getting their thoughts. I always talk to, my friends and, people that I really kind of trust their opinions on, when it comes to this, and just kind of brainstorm and come up with my own ideas. But I kept thinking, what if we're looking at the wide receiver room all wrong? What if we're looking at all wrong? Because this is why I'm saying this. There is a nonstop push that the Rams are looking for an X receiver, and I would assume they are interested in such. I would assume that they are interested in a guy that can take the top off the defense, a field stretcher, a guy that can win those, deep posts and 50-50 balls. But guys, what if they already have that on the roster? The X receiver is typically your best receiver. And to be honest with you, even though he is so freaking good in the role he plays, Puka Nacua, why can't he be the X receiver? We've already seen him win off the line of scrimmage. He can win against press. He can win in man. He can win in zone. He's one of the best receivers beating both. If you look at it, analytically, this guy actually makes sense at X. But why am I suggesting that he plays X and talking about saving him and keeping him from getting injured? I'll tell you why. So there's no exact way to prove this. There's not like evidence to suggest this. This is more kind of the assumption. But understand this. Puka Nacua takes on more hits and more contact than most wide receivers. He just does. But a big thing that you could do to alleviate that, and it's not to say, again, that contact is the reason he gets injured, especially considering that injury that sidelined him for 6 games in week 1 of the season against the Lions came on a non-contact injury. However, I do think contact leads to maybe not an injury during this season or next season, but over the course of time, breaking down, wearing out, like Cooper Kupp, and I do think this is a real thing. Keenan Allen, right? The reason I suggest this is because right now, he is basically the Z receiver, and he is motioning and he is dominating the short and intermediate game for the Rams, okay? And obviously doing a great job, a stellar job. But what if that's hurting Puka Nacua? And in addition to that, a team that operated in 12 personnel grouping for a lot of that Vikings game in the postseason, when they got Tyler Higbee back, they were using Higbee and Parkinson. Guess who caught the 2 touchdown passes against the Eagles, the last 2 of the season? Colby Parkinson and, of course, Tyler Higbee. But that's neither here nor there. The point here is that the Rams were using a lot of 12 personnel to end the season, okay? And 12 personnel groupings, in case you don't know, the 2 is the tight end. That's what it stands for, okay? So it's how many tight ends there are, not wide receivers. So if you're in 11 personnel, you're going to have 1 running back, which is the first number, and then the 1, which is the second number, that would be your tight ends. So 11 personnel, you're going to have 1 tight end, typically with the Rams run, and 12 personnel, you're going to have 2 tight ends because you're going to have 1 running back, which is the 1 in the 12, and 2, which is the 2 in the tight ends. So what I'm thinking here, and they did just go out and get Scott Huff, an offensive line coach who's had experience with tight ends in the past, so we're not going to act like he's never coached tight ends, but an offensive line coach for the Seahawks that's coming over to coach the tight ends. What if more 12 personnel, you keep Puka Nacua somewhat healthy, you keep him clean, you keep him away from contact. He's an outstanding blocker. But maybe you dial it back a little bit. You know how I always say, if you can't block, you can't play wide receiver in Sean McVay's offense? Well, I would imagine, because you have 3 wide receivers on the roster, 2 that are legitimate wide receivers, 1 that could be but is really considered a potential gadget weapon, but most likely a return guy in Xavier Smith. But really you only have Puka Nacua and Jordan Whittington on this roster. So the next guys that you acquire, whether that's bringing back a Demarcus Robinson, whether that's signing a Chris Godwin or whoever and drafting whoever, would have to imagine those guys are going to be able to block. And so my thing here is that I think the Rams, I don't know if they'll do it, but I wouldn't be surprised going what they've gone through with Cooper Kupp, self-admitting to them, like, okay, $29.7 million this year, cap hit. We're not going to pay it because he's not that guy anymore. They've already admitted to themselves the tough part that Cooper Kupp, as important as he is, in the locker room, off the field representation, and of course on the field, just the leadership, the high quality communication, all of that. They still know that he's not worth that money. They know that he's fallen off. And I do think there's going to be somewhat of a pushback with Puka Nacua. And what I mean by that is, pullback, not pushback. What I mean is I think you could really see the Rams try to salvage him the best they can because he plays a dangerous wide receiver. He's not a guy that's ducking out of bounds. He wants the contact. And I think the Rams might have to protect him from himself. What do I say? I think we could see more 12 personnel groupings. I think it takes away his ability to be forced into that heavy blocking role. And then I also think by moving him as the X receiver, I know you're still dealing with physicality, you're getting pressed and all of that, but I think dealing with that, you're going to be more so attacking the deep part of the field instead of over the short and intermediate. When you're in the short and intermediate, you're still going to get hit deep part of the field. You might even get some late hits. You might get some helmet-to-helmet hits, stuff like that. But the short and intermediate part, that's the running back type. You're starting to become a running back. That's when you're getting really hit. That's when you're getting hit in the kidneys. You're getting hit in the thighs. You're getting hit in the ankles. And like that to me is where I think the Rams are going to try and, limit that exposure to those hits. And I understand this will have pullback, and pushback from fans. They might say, look, you're taking Puka Nacua completely out of his rhythm, out of his zone, and out of the best role he has. But I would argue if Puka Nacua is already one of the best receivers in the league, can't he play anywhere? Dick, do you really think if he plays the X position, he's not going to be as effective? Do you really think he's going to fall off a cliff? I don't. I think if anything, he might be more effective. His stats might go up even more. I understand he plays that role, and he plays it well. You could still use him in motion and things, and you don't have to keep him strictly X. You could rotate in and out. But I think that this needs to be your X receiver. I think this needs to be a guy that takes the top off the defense. This needs to be the guy that is relied on. And look, the X receiver was Calvin Johnson back with the Lions, Matthew Stafford. Why can't the best receiver be the X receiver in the Rams offense? Puka Nacua is by far better than anybody on this roster at wide receiver, will be after free agency and the draft. So why limit yourself? Force yourself into this bubble where you have to draft an X. You might take a lesser talented receiver because you want that speed or you want that, big body, and, kind of limit yourself. And that's the thing. I think there are multiple arguments to be had here. The first one, it protects Puka Nacua from himself. The second, it also opens up your wide receiver room, allows you to go out and get different guys. You're not limited to just these type of guys. Third, Puka Nacua can make the 50-50 catch. He's probably one of the best contested catch, receivers in the league. So that doesn't hurt, right? So now, and you also, you want to question the speed, go and watch that game against the Browns in 2023, the deep ball to Nacua. I mean, he's lightning, right? He's fast. He can play. No doubt about it. And there are going to be guys that are playing that X around the league that are slower than Nacua. So my pitch here, more tight end usage, go out and get another tight end next to Higbee. Start using that 12 personnel more. They've operated well out of it. I think Sean McVay can evolve his offensive game plan and use this as kind of a new era type of move, turning a chapter. But also you can protect your strong, really important asset, because if you're looking at what happened with Kupp, you have to be sitting there thinking, I can never allow that to happen again. If there's anything you can do to prevent that and keep Nacua around for as long as possible, to me, that is a winning formula. And if you have to take a dip in production a little bit because he's not, that guy that you can rely on over the middle and, in the flat, fine. I'm more concerned about having him for 18 games or 17 games. It'll be 18 soon, but 17 games than I am, he needs to be in this role, but I might lose him for 4 to 5 games. I think he works better outside. I thought about this, and I think he would work better as the X receiver, because I think what they were doing, obviously they can get him touches, manufactured touches, all of that. But I think it's also going to even out the offense where, you lean this way, I hit you this way, that type of thing. So in conclusion, what was the point of this video? The point of it was that I have a concern and I have a solution. I think whatever you can do to limit Nacua's exposure over the middle, in the short and intermediate, those kidney shots, those thigh shots, those ankle shots, I'm telling you, it's going to help him. And I just think that people need to accept that this might be something they have to do. And I understand he's young and it's not like he's getting up there in age, but what if this extends his career? What if this extends his prime? These are things you got to think about. And these are the things that I do think about. So the last video before I go on vacation officially, I know I was going to do the mailbag, but I just don't have time. So I'll be doing that when I'm in Florida at some point. But the last video is I wanted to pitch this. What do you guys think? I think the Rams could do this. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Maybe not the full thing. I don't know if they're going to tell the best blocking wide receiver in the league to stop blocking. That's not really what I was proposing, but limit his blocking, if you will. But then again, you never know. But what do you guys think? Do you think this makes sense? This certainly would check a box. If you put Puka Nacua at X, he would work. And if you put him at X, then now you have another guy that you can go out. For example, guy I just covered, right? Emeka Egbuka. If you didn't already, check out that video. Egbuka would be perfect in that role next to Whittington, motioning, working in the flat, short and intermediate, outstanding route runner, blocker, all of that. I'm not even saying he'll be there at 26, although I'm not saying that he won't be there at 26. I just want to, put it out there because I think it makes sense. If the Rams just play the best guys that you can, and I don't think you should limit yourself just because you want to play the guy who's already one of the best receivers in the league and shouldn't be only relegated to the slot and, as the Z. Like, I would rather play him at X. Right now, I think he makes the most sense. So maybe I'm wrong. But you know what's great about the NFL and during the NFL season? You can try these things to start the year and adjust if they don't work. It's happened many times. As a matter of fact, it happens even before the season. The Rams with Jonah Jackson moving him to center. There are so many different things that, go on. Plans change, all of that. I'd give it a shot. Let me know in the comments section if you agree with anything I had to say or if you disagreed. That's going to do it. I'll see you guys soon. Next time you see me, I'll probably not have the same. Well, I will not have the same quality. I'm not bringing my, camera. I'm going to be using my Insta360 cam. So it will be a downgrade, although it still looks pretty nice. And I won't have this nice little backdrop in the studio and all that. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully nothing crazy goes down when I'm in Florida because it's still a vacation. But I will be posting videos. I will be keeping up to date. And we'll go live on the old iPhone here like last year. Although we're not going on vacation to Florida. Like this last year we went probably during the worst time for my job. We went literally during free agency. So since we're not doing it this year that way, we're doing it now. I can't imagine I'll have too much news to cover, but be that as it may, I will get to it. And if I, have to, I'll go live on my phone. But that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Be sure to check out Mando, today's sponsor. Again, JK Bogan will get you $5 off your starter pack, which is over 40% off at shopmando.com. Later, folks. All right, guys. So once again, just want to let you guys know that you can check out my new side project, The Lounge. I interview athletes, musicians, actors, actresses, all the nine. So definitely check it out over on the Lounge with Jake Ellenbogen channel. Be sure to subscribe and enjoy. In case you guys haven't noticed, I do have a Discord channel for my community on this channel. And if you want to be a part of it, it is free. The link is in the description below. You can sign up. This is basically a 24/7 Rams channel, and we are almost at 1,100 members. So if you want to be a part of it, just hit the link in the description below.